Good day. There is a famous fable by Aesop which says, "Be careful what you wish for, lest it may come true." Well, yesterday, one wish of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu finally came true. He had always wished for the past 30 years that America will help the Israeli state and he himself to bomb nuclear facilities in Iran. And he did. It happened. Deep in the night, when most people were asleep, America deployed its famous B-2 bombers, and they flew out of Missouri in America here and flew what was considered a total of 37 hours. They were refueled in the air, and they successfully went into over Iranian airspace and dropped GBU bombs on nuclear sites in Iran. Specifically, two bombs were dropped. Two bombs were dropped in Natanz, and six were dropped in Fordo. The other nuclear site, which is Isfahan, was bombed using Tomahawk missiles from the submarine somewhere in the Persian Gulf. So finally, Benjamin Netanyahu has got his wish. And what is the damage assessment after that bombing? The damage assessment is that, to a large extent, most people say and feel that it was negligible. Because long before the bombing, the Iranians had even taken out most of the nuclear enrichment facilities, most of the nuclear enrichment equipment that they had moved them, and those places were practically empty. So it is that the Americans may not necessarily have achieved what they wanted, but there's been consequential change in the world as the world awaits Iran's retaliation. There's fear in the Middle East. There's worry in Israel. There's even worry in the Trump administration at what Iran may do. Will it escalate? Will it take commiserate measures that may not be harmful to the Trump presidency? Or will it just lie down and let it pass? Good day and welcome to my channel, Ebima Mungo's Perspective on Global Affairs. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If you have any opinions about what the ideas I express here, please leave them in the comment section. And don't forget to like and share. Well, finally, Donald Trump made good on a promise. And that promise has been that if Iran doesn't negotiate with him and accept all his terms, he will bomb them. This has been long in coming. He has finally done it. He bombed Iran yesterday, and in bombing Iran, he took the world into a new vista of history. Yesterday, I made out a video that I said Trump is now Janus, is two-faced, is duplicitous, he is now like the god of change and new beginnings. He has set the world into a new beginning, a reality where America and Israel is facing off against the whole world. Prior to this time, most American presidents will go into any engagement knowing that they had the full support of the West. But this American president has practically slapped and snubbed the Western allies, including France, Germany, and UK, that you would want to think that they may not be part of this project, this is new project. It seems like he may be going on this project alone. And there's been immediate backlash. What we want to know is, will Trump survive this attempt to destroy Iran and break their will? My take is that he has already failed. You see, prior to launching this campaign, Trump was very mindful. In fact, it was very there was no braggadocio. The braggadocio he was always showing in front of the TVs was while he was quietly evacuating American assets, military assets, ships, and planes away from Bahrain, from the Middle Eastern Gulf states that he had always protected and supported. So now what you have are very empty American bases. They have been emptied out. The America has been cleared from the Middle East. Who would have thought that even before a war, Iran had won and had won the war of logistics? How will I put it? Because they have already made America know that pain can come their way. And they have already made America to move away very far from that neighborhood. Nobody has been able to move America out of the Gulf for the past 40 years since they embarked on a campaign in 1991, Operation Desert Storm, to move out Iraq from Kuwait. So since that time, America has opened bases and stayed in those bases all across the Middle East. But this time around, the sentiment in the Middle East is that America may have overstayed its welcome. America may have overstayed its welcome in Iraq, and following this attack, we are going to possibly see an escalation of attacks on American assets in Iraq. America overstayed its welcome definitely in the sheikdoms and the Emirates and the kingdoms of the Middle East, because there was a time they did give America good service. In the times of the revolution, when the Iranian state was calling for the downfall of all the family kingdoms within that region. But it's not so anymore. Iran has made peace with almost all its neighbors. And anything you hear about Iran is probably propaganda. They have made peace even with their most belligerent neighbor, and that was Saudi Arabia, in a deal brokered by the Chinese. So now the world awaits Iran's retaliation. I can tell you this: Trump is worried and Trump is scared. He has made a big gamble and he has his political career on the line. Already there's pushback from the American political class. We had a situation where he had sweeping victory all across America. 80% of all the counties in America voted for him. He controls the Congress and he controls the Senate. But even then, this control is tenuous, small, not so big. And now he has taken and embarked on two very serious illegal acts. One, an act against international law when he bombs a country and becomes an aggressor to that country, joins a belligerent with that country who just recently took aggressive acts against the country. So now America has been plunged into war with Iran. The second is that he has also gone against international law and committed a war crime by attacking a nuclear site. There are international conventions that prevent this. So at this moment, Donald Trump, for ordering this attack, even under the guise of being the president of America, has committed a war crime. But then again, Donald Trump has gone against Congress because it's explicitly stated in American law that he cannot declare war on a country without Congress. But he has done it anyway. So he has taken his action, he has finally got his wish, and he has done what he always wished to do. But be careful what you wish for. Yesterday, I put out a video where I said that Iran is practically like the honey badger. What do I mean by that? The honey badger is one of the most feared animals in the animal kingdom. All the predators avoid them because they are very ferocious when they make a response. They are quite defensive, but they are very ferocious, they are strong, they are determined, they are unrelenting, they are dogged, and they keep coming at you. Lions, leopards, and all the terrible animals of the animal kingdom do well to just stay out and avoid the honey badger. And that's what Iran has come to be in the past 40 years. This lone country has stood the constant and unrelenting attack of America and the collective West. Why? Because they won't kowtow to the ways and the aspirations and wishes of the Western political class, which was to submit wholeheartedly to the wishes and desires of Israel. Besides Israel, there's also the financial group the leaders of finance in the West who wanted Iran's oil wells and oil wealth. But they never did. They've been stubborn about that. And for that reason, they've strengthened themselves over the course of time while they observed what was going on in Afghanistan and what the Americans were doing in Iraq. They learned. And don't forget that this is a country that fought an 8-year war with a fully armed American-supported Iraq. They did. It was costly to them in human blood, and it was also costly in materially, but they survived. And now, for 40 years, they've prepared. 40 years, they dug tunnels under the grounds and under the mountains of Iran in many places, some to house their nuclear equipment and some to also house their military equipment. So we all know that they have the capacity for retaliation. We have seen it. In 2 weeks now, going into 2 weeks, the city of Tel Aviv, the Israeli cities of Haifa, Tel Aviv, and Jerusalem have not seen the kind of pounding they've received from an assortment of ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, and drones. Their iron shield and iron dome and iron arrow, everything iron has been tested beyond belief. And they've been shown to not be as efficacious, efficient, and destructive in stopping incoming missiles as they are put out with all these their various propaganda over the past 30 years. The invincibility of the Israeli state has been made bare to us that it's just a myth. Israel has been battered, and this is what has finally happened to Israel in the past 1 week. Israel is being emptied out. Ben Gurion Airport has been closed for a week. The economy of Israel is being battered. The stock exchange of Israel has been hit. The diamond exchange has been hit. The Ministry of Defense has been hit. The Ministry of External Affairs has been hit. And we know that Iran has the capacity to hit the nuclear plants and the nuclear facilities of Israel if they so wish to. But the same impulses that have held Iran back from building a nuclear bomb probably is the same impulses that is holding them back from hitting at an Iranian Israeli nuclear facility that may ultimately have a nuclear blowout and fallout that will affect the Palestinian people who they care so much for. So maybe that is what is holding them back. But we are at this crossroad of history now where the world has changed. We are in a new direction where Iran, that has been vilified for over 40 years, now has friends in BRICS, organizations like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, organizations like and powerful power brokers like China and Russia. For the past 40 years also, due to their own peculiar circumstance, Iran has always been wary of going into closer relationships with Israel. I mean, with Russia. They have been suspicious of the Russians above them, and they have good reason to, because during the Soviet times, they didn't have good relationship. But for recent times, Russia has found out that they have collective need for each other. It's supposed to be a symbiotic relationship. And the Russians have been impressing upon the Iranians that they need to be trustful, at least of some people, because the world has changed. They are extending an arm of friendship to the Iranians. And at this point, when Iran has been attacked, they probably will be reaching out to the Russians. Already, the Russians are helping the Iranians to build a nuclear plant. And while Putin was saying this at the St. Petersburg Economic Forum, he stated clearly that he is in a dilemma because the Iranians are very skeptical about going into deeper military relations with Russia, and Israel to him is almost an extension of Russia because half of the population speaks Russian. But then he also stated that Russia is building a nuclear plant, a peaceful nuclear plant for Iran, and they were removing their staff. They will not be intimidated, and that they don't expect anybody to attack that plant. Of course, in all the names and all the pandering and posturing Israel has done, they dared not mention that plant in Bosre as a plant that they were going to attack. So, but we know the Chinese, the people who helped the Koreans to push back the Americans below the 44th, 48th parallel in Korea, the people who held the Fiat Coms to tie down the Americans and finally make them take a decision to leave in Vietnam are also going to do what they've done. We've come to know Xi Jinping as the peace builder, the man who has built a Silk Road economically across all the BRIC states and the global south, ports, hospitals, roads, and who knows now? He may just be the one who's now building the capacity for those countries to stand against bullies, global bullies that have controlled the narrative in the media. They've controlled the narrative in global institutions like the United Nations, the World Bank, the IMF, and they've controlled the narrative every single place. They are the ones who are custodians and guardians of the rule-based order. But the Chinese and the Russians have a new partnership where they say they'll challenge the rule-based order and replace it with the law-based order. We're in interesting times, and the world awaits Iran's response. Iran's response to aggression by the United States. It should be very pertinent that this, this action by Donald Trump, you see, this is why sometimes there's always a distinction between the actions of an administration and the actions of a country. It does not enjoy popular support. All the polls point to the fact that it does not enjoy popular support. Even within Trump's cabinet, J.D. Vance is not one who has in any way and forum said that America should be jumping into other wars. The only war he wants to see with America is that of China, with China, because he feels that China is the main challenger to America's hegemony. But in tying down America in places like Iran, China grows. And China has grown for the past 13 to 14 years, while America was busy building bombs and bombing Iraq and bombing Afghanistan. China was building high-speed trains, railroads, was building the capacity to be able to build 30 million cars in a year, was building extensive solar panel plants now that the whole amount of solar energy produced in China is almost more than that of all the combined production of energy in America combined. That's the kind of development he has focused on while America has been involved in so many endless wars. So we are at this point now where Trump may have had his way and had his wish come true, but he does have pushback even within America. Within his own MAGA movement, some of them have relentlessly said, do not do this. Tucker Carlson is one of them. The Congresswoman, Marjorie Green, is another one of them. J.D. Vance is also known, even though when Trump was announcing his attack and the fact that bombs had been thrown in Fordo and Natanz and Isfahan, I took a look at the faces of the three officers behind him, J.D. Vance, Foreign Secretary Rubio, and Defense Secretary Hesketh. They didn't look happy. Body language says a lot. And indeed, a large number of the MAGA movement that voted for Donald Trump under the peace mandate, they too are not looking happy. They are not looking happy. They are reflecting. Nobody really knows. Trump has taken a big risk. Probably he's hoping that Iran will do something very irrational, and that will make him look to say, rally up the troops and say, look, Iran has bombed our ship, Iran has sunk our plane, or sunk our ship and bombed our plane, so that he can rally the American people. But the Iranians have learned, they are calm these days. They are not those same favor-driven mullahs of the 1979s. They are calm, they are very strategic in their decision making. They are following up to what the Russians have done over the face of several provocations. The Russians have kept calm, and the Russians have gone ahead to slowly degrade the actions of Ukraine. the actions of NATO and all the actions of all those who had attempted to undermine their security. So the Iranians have been very slow in their reaction. We don't know what they are going to do. And in being slow in it, it's giving a lot of people, no less, even Donald Trump, a lot of worry. But one group of people who are not having an easy time are the Israelis. They are being bombed. Immediately after the bombing in Fudo, they were bombed. The Israelis are seeing missiles pour into their cities, and their security is not being guaranteed as Benjamin Netanyahu has assured them. Rather, it is being undermined. That is why a lot of Americans who are Israelis, a lot of Hungarians, French, Polish who are Israelis, they're all leaving. Israel has been emptied out. And who knows what Iran's next action may be. It may be desalination plants. It may be even the nuclear plant. But I think it may just be that they will continue to degrade Israel, undermine Israel, destroy Israel until to the point where finally the American government will look and say, maybe we should call and make peace. Don't forget, Xi Jinping has already defeated Trump in one particular war, the trade war, the tariff war. He may just be being set for another defeat in the first war with Iran. This is where I end my video for today. If you have any idea, any views regarding to my viewpoints, please put them in the comment section. If you're new to this channel, subscribe. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe. Let us grow the channel together. We are getting very close, very close. We're inching closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers. I should think by the time this video is posted, we'll be moving towards our 1,100 subscriber. Thank you. Thank you for being with me, and see you in the next video.